All right, main event fans, it is Resurrection Sunday, and the main event, we're all about having some fun, hanging out with friends, talking sports, and discussing what is going on in the world. But we also happen to know that Easter is more than just Easter bunnies, candy, and some eggs. So that being said, joining me and welcoming you a happy Easter today is the Pooh Bear, the Chief, TSG, and I am Beloved. Settle in with us for a bit. We're going to chat a little bit about what is our favorite Easter egg candy, the Lightning, the NFL, Major League Baseball opening week, and we're going to check in on those NCAA brackets. It is that time, gentlemen. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
This is the main event. That last clip there makes me wonder, why have we waited so long to make TSG wear the wig of shame?
Oh, I don't know.
It's not football season.
I mean,
it's tournament season, though.
It's been a while. Okay, so hold on for a second here. So Pooh Bear has got on the main event cold gear. And now
what was it, last part?
The Chief has changed clothes since
I'm debuting my new Rays jersey. Here, let me get you a better look at that. Right there it is.
All right. I like it. I like it. So for those tuning in here real quick, just a word of warning. This is not a live show. It is today. We're actually recording this on Saturday afternoon so that we can enjoy time with our family for Easter Sunday. So thanks for tuning in. And speaking of Resurrection Sunday, Chief, I understand you might have resurrected something from the dead recently.
I did. So my old grill, it died on me a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I got to get this. I got to get a new grill. I started researching prices on them, and I said, "Ooh, this thing's got to come back." So today, I'm outside performing miracles, and I'm going to tell you what, man, it came back, and it's with us for another season. I just couldn't say goodbye to my old friend. He got me through keto and COVID and all kinds of stuff. So,
yes, yeah,
I'm ready.
Well, okay.
One more season.
Yeah, the Chief also in the miracle business, apparently.
These hands. Who's next?
And most people would have just taken their Biden bucks down to Home Depot and picked up a new Weber or something. But good on you, man. I like keeping old things around. That's why you're here.
I didn't get Biden bucks.
Oh, that's why you're here.
That's why I'm fixing my grill. There you go. That's why
everybody missed that.
It was a lot of work to set that one up too, but that's all right.
Oh man, that is funny. That's funny. So
how about those Rays, man?
I was gonna say, how about those Rays? At this point, we're gonna be 162-0.
And as a reminder, just like B-Love just said, this is a Saturday afternoon show. They haven't played Saturday evening, and they haven't played Sunday afternoon. So if they blow these next two games, forget what we say.
Right now, we're one of only 3 undefeated teams in all of Major League Baseball. So
that's right.
Wow, that's actually pretty remarkable. Yeah,
there's a couple that haven't played. And I think it's actually 3. They're 2-0. There's still a few 1-0s floating around there.
Yeah. That's true. How about the Rays being disrespected on opening day? The Dodgers, by the way, get national coverage and tank, whereas we are in the fight for our lives and wind up winning, in a 1-0 nail biter on just Bally's TV, Bally's Sun TV.
Bally's, and both teams on the road, by the way. No respect for the home teams.
Yeah, that's
or for the winning teams to play at home.
The World Series teams,
yeah. And speaking of opening day, you had a couple of games postponed due to weather. You had the snowstorm in Detroit.
That was
Meanwhile,
awesome.
Which so part of me likes the baseball in the snow
snow
because
baseball.
You rarely get to see it. But you had a game that was canceled because of weather, and the snowstorm could have turned worse or possibly postponed that game. So, but again, we have Major League Baseball with their high intelligence scheduling games outside of the South. You had the Tropicana Field was sitting empty. The Dunedin Blue Jays stadium was sitting empty. I think the Astros stadium was sitting empty. There were several dome stadiums that were sitting empty. All these teams and cities you could have played in to take advantage of the weather to put off that opening day up north for another week, right? Because you play on the road for the first week and then you play at home for a week. Mm-hmm. Just a silly schedule-making decision, in my opinion. Could have been handled much better.
There's another stadium in the South that's going to be sitting empty, and that's the one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
For the All-Star game.
Again, we're recording this Saturday. My hope is by Sunday, Rob Manfred comes around to his senses. Maybe the stone rolls away from his eyes, and he understands that this is not a smart decision. And
I think this is a done deal.
It probably is. I'm just being hopeful.
I don't think this is going to be reversed. I guess our conversation is about, man, is there room for this in baseball?
No,
I don't think so.
There's no room for politics in baseball. And you know what? As a matter of fact, sports is the one thing. It's one of the very few things that everybody from all groups of people, rich, poor, whatever your ethnicity is, can all get behind. And now they've even managed to politicize that. One of the few things that we can all pretty much agree on, even if it's not your team, we may pick on different teams, but we're all at least in it together. It's something that we have in common, and now they've been able to politicize that and try to divide us even more. So I say keep politics out of baseball, keep it out of sports in general. Let sports be sports, let politics be politics.
Yeah.
Well, my problem is who was clamoring for this? Who was saying this new state law is so bad we want a baseball to pull out the All-Star game? This solely came from baseball. Head down, Rob Manfred decided, I don't like this law. I'm going to pull the All-Star game out. I don't want anything to do with that.
You think this was driven by the commissioner and then he just went and rallied support behind it?
Yeah, it had to have. Well, I mean, President Biden came out and spoke and said that there should, baseball should do something like that. So he just kind of followed, based on what Biden said. But other than that, no one else was clamoring. I mean, it's 3 months away. Nobody's even thinking about the All-Star. I didn't even know it was in Atlanta this year until they said they're going to move it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I could see maybe there's some people in Georgia that might have tweeted a few things. I didn't see any of them. I didn't hear, not that I'm the definitive, if I don't hear about it, it doesn't happen. But, if you don't hear about it in national news like that, you don't think it's an issue. But all of a sudden, boom, gone. Silly. TSG, you were going to say something?
I think I'm not 100% on this, but I think I did read a little bit on it last night. I think B-Love was right. I think that Manfred may have went out and looked for some support on this because I think the teams voted on it, the owners. I'm not 100% on that, but there was some kind of collaboration there. I know that.
There was collaboration. I believe it was the Players Association, TSG.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Which the Players Association, from what I read, is made up of past and present Major League Baseball players. I think it's a group of around 100. And that was who put the initial support.
So they're the ones
behind that change.
Added pressure.
Essentially the players past and present, which, it's interesting to me because baseball is probably one of the most diverse sports we have in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I'm just look at the Rays alone. I mean, holy cow. I mean, Chinese, Japanese, Dominican
Koreans.
Republic. Yeah, Korean, absolutely. And Americans. So
Mexicans. I mean, Canadians. Chief's right. I mean, it's the one thing that almost any American can get behind. If you don't like baseball, fine, but at least you can get behind the spirit of it and the camaraderie of it, and just go into. Matter of fact, I was looking back at my Facebook post from 5 or 6 years ago. I wrote a little something about standing shoulder to shoulder, and it seems a little ridiculous now, but standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers and singing the national anthem. And, that's all the stuff we miss. And you all stand and be unified for that. and then you go and pull stuff like this. You like Chief said, you're just further dividing a nation that is already struggling to stay united.
Yeah. Let me just point out real quick what we're talking about here is just whether our opinion is whether sports should take on politics. We're not sharing any opinions or ideas of whether we think that Georgia law was good, bad, or indifferent. That's not for here. But I just think like when you do something like this, now you're making it an issue within your sport that doesn't necessarily have to be. I think there's so many other things that you could focus on than this, because now what you're going to have is you're going to have people are going to make this political, and some people are going to choose not to watch Major League Baseball because of this. Some people are going to be staunch supporters of Major League Baseball because of this. And it just creates like, hey, at one time we all just enjoyed baseball. Now we've got to make it a thing where it doesn't have to be a thing. That's the problem that I have with it. And, I know you, Pooh Bear, you said, and I didn't see that, but Biden came out with support of it. And then, you got the former POTUS, who doesn't have Twitter, come out against it. And by the way, you're not the president anymore, dude. Just go enjoy Florida. We don't need to hear from you. It's crazy.
It's sad. So, but you're setting a precedent here. There's two things you're doing. One, you're being hypocritical of all the other things you've ignored up until this point, where you're thinking, okay, well, we can stay silent on the fact that all of our uniforms are made by Nike, right? Well, Nike is one of the most egregious users of sweatshop labor in China. Okay, so that's a little bit hypocritical of saying that this human right violation is okay, but this one over here in this state is not, right? And then two, now what if a state law passes in Texas that you don't like, or one in California that you don't like? You're going to start pulling teams out. You're going to start pulling events from them. Now you have to maintain that consistency. Otherwise, your message was
precedent. Yeah, you're kind of setting a precedent. Yeah.
That's why I have a problem with this.
Hey, by the way, Tropicana Field is open for the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll gladly buy a ticket and go to that, I think.
That's
I was going to say, now Pooh Bear's made me feel bad about wearing my new jersey, because it may have been made in a sweatshop somewhere. I don't know.
Well, I mean, listen, it's the reality.
Should I take it off? I don't know if I should take it off in protest, or what am I supposed to do with this thing now? I don't know. I was pretty happy about it 10 minutes ago.
All right. Well, listen, let's talk about, I know it's only 2 games in. What do you guys think about what you've seen so far from the Rays? Hey, by the way, I said on this show last week that Willy Adames would play shortstop all 162 games. He made it 1.
Hey, listen, Chief jinxed Willie at the beginning of the 2020 season, so you just did it to the 2021 season. Chief jinxed him and said he'd go 8 errors or something, error free, and he committed 2 of the second game.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's leave Willy Adames out of preseason predictions from here on out.
I guess so. But hey, by the way, Joey Wendell filled in, excellently, and hits a 3-run homer to bring back the lead and pretty much close out the game last night. Up until then, it looked like Austin Meadows was going to go 2 straight days of we could just start calling the team Austin Meadows instead of
the Tampa Bay Meadows.
I see more of last year and this year's team, which isn't necessarily great, by the way, because we pitching seems to be doing really well. Yarbrough pitched well. I almost said Snell.
Glasnow.
And then that seems to be going okay. But the bats, come on, man. We only had, I think we had 8 hits yesterday. We got out hit by the Marlins.
And we had 3. We had 3 on opening day.
Yeah. So not great. I mean, we need to see these bats start popping, because the pitchers will get hit. I mean, it's going to happen. So I'd like to see more swinging.
That's typical Rays. They're not an offensive juggernaut, never have been, not even during the hit show with Jose Canseco and Juan Castillo and all the other players they picked up during that year. The hit show. Remember that? That was great.
I thought it was. Go ahead.
It's just not their MO. We know this is what it's going to look like. The hope is that starting pitching can continue doing what it's doing and what it did last season, and that the bullpen can hang on. What I've seen so far from the bullpen, it does not encourage me Now it is only 2 games into the season. I'm not, it's a very, very minuscule sample size. But Chaz Rowe's out there doing Chaz Rowe things and making me stand up and not be able to sit down and enjoy the game.
How about the sheriff last night? I was like, "Who shot the sheriff?" Me. I'm going to shoot the sheriff. That's who's going to shoot the sheriff.
Easy.
Man.
You didn't mean that literally. It's a song. Eric Clapton. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, keep pitching like that, though. We'll see. So,
but I tell you what else we did see, Chief. You said that this team is a little reminiscent of a lot of what we saw last year, including pulling the starting pitcher after 6. By the way, his last pitch in the bottom or the top of that 6th inning was 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he'd only thrown about 75 pitches.
I don't even think it was that many, was it?
Now, he had thrown about 75 pitches. His last pitch, I watched it, was a strike at 100 miles an hour. Now, I will say this. At that point, I had to go. I don't know. I don't know if he came up in the order, being that we're in the National League right now. So maybe his spot in the order came up and they'd rather have a bat there than the pitcher. I don't know, but that's got to be pretty discouraging when you're rolling like that. And the next thing you know,
the only other thing I can think of is the fact that, it was opening day and, we don't want to blow the guy's arm out on what day one. Give him I know he had spring training, but I don't think these guys have pitched really. You only pitch 1 or 2 innings in spring training, and then you move out. So just be an extra cautious. Look, we don't have spare pitchers, so you gotta be a little careful with them, at least on first time around.
I do think the Rays are experts in also emotional intelligence when it comes to baseball, and what I mean by that is building confidence in these players. So he's already had a great outing, right? And up to that point. So, he made it 6 innings, pop them out. I mean, I agree. I mean, when they're throwing 100 miles per hour, but that may be, I can see the Rays doing that. They're pretty good at that stuff. I watched Joe Madden do it with, what did you used to call McGee there, Chief? I'm not going to say it, but remember
McGee?
Yeah. Chief had a nickname for him.
Was it McDouble?
It rhymed with
Jake McDouble?
It rhymed with Bits McGee. But when we first got him, he was not doing good when we first got on. I remember Chief complaining about him quite a bit, actually. And but I think Joe Madden saw the ability in this guy and the stuff that he had, and he kept putting him in. And finally, the guy built confidence and became a great pitcher for us for a long time.
Yeah. Speaking of confidence, you think Austin Meadows leads the league in home runs?
I know for a fact he does.
Well, he does right now.
He does Saturday afternoon at 12:30. Let's hope he does on Sunday night as well when this goes live or when this goes broadcast.
Yeah, and apparently there's a couple other guys that are tied with 2 dingers.
There's about 6 of them, 2 home runs.
Evan, former Ray, Evan Longoria, who I say he hits a home run every opening day. It's just to get us excited.
Evan Longoria seems to be really good for half a season. Sometimes it's at the first half of the season. Sometimes it's at the second half of the season. I haven't been following him as much since he moved out to San Francisco. It's a little hard to watch, 10 o'clock baseball on the East Coast. It's a
little hard to watch Rays baseball at my house.
Thanks to that Bally's contract.
It's ridiculous. Last night, I'm like literally looking. I actually considered just buying a streaming cable service at the tune of like $69 a month just so I could watch the Rays.
There's only one, bro, that does it. That carries them. I think it is it's
AT&T.
Yeah, which I don't know if we can get here. I think I tried to do it because we can't do it.
Oh, really?
But that's something that MLB could put their money and their efforts behind instead of trying to regulate state law. Go into FCC communication law and figure out what the heck is going on between Bally Sports and Fox Sports Sun and their cable contracts, because you're missing out on a huge market of television viewers.
Right now, I would say in the Tampa Bay area, most of us don't have access to watch the Rays. One guy does, and of course he is in the minority.
There's
guess
one cable service, but I can't imagine that, you know, the greater Tampa market is the only one. There has to be other markets going through the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand MLB's stance on this is they want you to subscribe to the MLB app. Well, guess what? You've got blackout restrictions in local areas. So if you live in an area where with a hometown with a market team and you want to watch them and they're having a contract dispute with the cable providers, you're out of luck, pal.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Still can't watch the game even with the MLB app. So switching gears, gents, TSG, last week you were sharing with us some exciting new player for the Lightning, and you pretty much called, this guy's impact. What have we seen of the Lightning since we last got together?
So the question on everyone's mind is if Kucherov were to have a setback in his return, or he's just not the guy that he was last year, either permanently or just because he needs more time to get back to 100%. Right. How far can the Lightning go in that situation? Well, like you said, on our last show, I talked about a player who has been making a splash since playing his first game in the NHL this year, Ross Colton. This player's left. He's left winger. And again, he's making some noise. He scored the tying goal against John Tortorella's Columbus Blue Jackets, who are certainly known for their defense. And if this guy continues to score in clutch situations, I think he and Stamkos, who we only had for 5 minutes in last year's Stanley Cup, can maybe.
It was a great 5 minutes, though.
It was.
It was a great 5 minutes.
But maybe those two together can make up for Kucherov if he's not the Kucherov of old. And who knows? But if this kind of energy that we've seen from him, and we've seen this in the past from guys that have come up big for the Lightning. We witnessed it when Tyler Johnson came up, again with Braden Point, and now with Ross Colton. What do you guys think?
I love that this guy's name is Ross Colton. He should be a NASCAR driver, though.
It does sound like
Doesn't that sound like more of a NASCAR? Like, hey, does he have Pennzoil on the back of his jersey, TSG?
Yeah, man, this guy's faster than NASCAR, man.
He's faster than NASCAR.
Dude, every time he scores, he can just yell out a boogity, boogity, boogity.
Fantastic.
As long as he doesn't yell, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. Help me, Oprah.
I think they'll be all right. They were cruising along just fine until this last week. They had a little bit of a stumbling week where I think they lost 3 games, maybe 4 games. No, they avoided the 4th loss by beating Columbus. But I think they're going to be okay. Braden Point, still Braden Point. Yanni Gourde's up there in the goal leaders with Stamkos and Point. Victor Hedman is arguably the best player in all of hockey right now. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to be just fine. In this year with the playoffs, it's going to be a little different. I think they're doing a reseeding come playoff time. So, in matter of fact, I think looking at the standings right now on my other monitor here, there's really no way they could not be in the playoffs. They're essentially in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were leading the league in points.
Right. But I think the way their division is split up right now, you've got the top 3 teams with Columbus and I think Miami. They're so good. Huh? What was it, Pat?
Florida.
Yeah, I called them Miami. Sorry, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that group of teams in the top and the group of teams in the bottom, it's not a sure thing. I mean, there's always a way to foul this up, but there's really no way for them to lose enough to those terrible teams to not make the playoffs. So it's just a matter of seeding now. So they just need to keep it going, keep it rolling. They're gonna be fine. Take care of Vasilevsky, get him some rest. But keep him stretched out. And once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen, and it's gonna.
Yeah,
and exciting.
You're right about getting rest for Vasilevsky because they use him a lot.
He's been going hard all season. McElhinney hasn't had that many turns and goals.
Last year in the playoffs, he didn't get a single night off. I think he played every game.
I mean, he
drop off with our goalie.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's Easter. Well, it is Easter today while you're watching this, and I've got all this candy up here on my desk. I just can't help myself anymore.
You're not supposed to be eating. You're supposed to be sharing. Which one is your favorite? That looks like a cookie.
No, dude, this is. So I go to the store yesterday,
Bet
get
it's
some
not
Easter
keto.
candy for the show. No, it's not. I just ruined my diet right here.
Oh boy.
And they had these Reese's peanut butter cups, which I love Reese's peanut butter cups,
Yes.
but these have a marshmallow top on them.
No.
Oh,
Mm.
wait a minute. Hold the phone. Let's get an instant reaction review here.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's
Yeah?
pretty good.
Because listen, there's nothing. I mean, there's something better, but there's a Fluffernutter sandwich is pretty good. That's peanut
Oh,
butter
wow.
and marshmallow, right?
Well,
So you're just
what would
adding
make it
chocolate
better-
to it.
like as I'm eating that, what would make that better is if I had just taken it out of the freezer.
Yes.
Mm,
I'm okay not having that.
that's a good one. Hey,
Yeah.
B-Love, do you have another one there? Same one you just had? Or are you out?
Yeah, you want me to try another one?
I want you to open it. I want you to open it and put it up to the camera a little closer. No, I want to see the chocolate in the. I'm so hungry right now.
I got more candy than this. I got more candy. So we figured we'd have a discussion like we did at Halloween about our favorite.
Closer.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's just a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Chief, quit licking the screen, man.
Look at that. That looks good. I'm not really
Terrasante.
on my chocolate, but it looks good.
I'll have to look for some of that on Monday. Find some of that 75% off day
Monday's
after
the
the holiday
day.
candy.
So I figured we'd share a little bit about what some of our favorite Easter candy. So I kind of started us off. I'll keep going here, but this is really good. How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about these little Cadbury eggs?
Disgusting. Yep.
Way too
Too much sugar.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
It's a
Yeah.
no-go for me.
Too rich.
Okay.
I saw that.
You saw what?
He was disgusted at those comments.
Just a little something happened in Chief's background.
Oh, all right.
It was funny.
But ultimately, for me, there's a lot of things I like about Easter candy. By the way, there's no Peeps up here.
No, they
That's
are
not even in part of my conversation. But
They're
for
the same
me,
as candy corn on Halloween on Halloween. Yeah, you just
Okay.
don't eat them.
yeah, for me, my go-to for Easter candy is going to be the bunny, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be the bunny.
But which brand?
Well, hold on. What I look for typically, and I was not able to find last night, I prefer white chocolate.
That's not chocolate.
So
It's not
I'm
chocolate.
looking for the white chocolate bunny. Now, these come two ways. This one right here, this is the Dove brand, by the way, which I love. Dove milk chocolate, not dark chocolate, milk chocolate. This one is solid all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
This one, hollow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go if you need the solid white chocolate is the way to go. That's my
All right.
favorite Easter candy.
Listen, you can get solid white chocolate any day of the year. You only get Palmer hollow chocolate bunnies on Easter. Okay? That's the way to go.
What's a Palmer bunny? Never heard of a Palmer bunny.
That's the brand that makes them hollow in the box. They come in the box. They're usually pretty big,
Okay, I got you now. Yeah.
thin
So that's
layer.
your pick is the hollow bunny?
Those things
No.
melt quickly.
They do melt quickly, but I mean, if for going bunny, that's what you go.
Mm-hmm.
But what is
Chocolate
your favorite
rabbit.
candy?
Well, there's only five. For me, there's five. Right? There's five that say Easter. There's jelly beans. There's the chocolate bunny.
Yeah.
There's the Reese's peanut butter eggs. Right? So B loves eating the cups. Then there's two things you can only get at Easter again. Number two, the robin eggs.
Mm.
Those are
Gotta
good.
have those. They're like malted milk balls.
Those are
And number
disgusting.
one, the definitive best candy at Easter, must have every year.
Wow.
Oh, so disappointed in you.
Dude,
How
so
is it
you're-
disappointing?
You're
Oh,
wrong
It's
on two levels.
fantastic.
You've been wrong twice now, Hoover. Number
No.
one, there is another candy you forgot to add to the list, and it's the most frustrating one of them all. It's those little football chocolate eggs. You know, they're individually wrapped in the foil, and then it takes you're working to get those things open, and then you get a little morsel of chocolate,
Mm-mm.
and you get one after the other.
So I agree with Chief on that. Pooh Bear, I did research, and guess what? The number one candy, Easter candy that Americans love to hate is at 16%.
It's Peeps, and they're all wrong.
Yes.
It's 16% of people that are wrong. Listen, Jesus didn't come back from the dead for me to eat bad candy. Okay?
Wow. Wow. You're trying to get Jesus on your side here over. Wow.
Chief, what's your favorite?
So as a kid, every Easter I would get up, my mom had a basket for me, and there it was, and we had a big plastic egg. Inside the egg is where the bunny was hidden. So I'd open up that, and every year I wanted the solid bunny. Never got it. Almost never got it. I got the hollow bunny with the solid ears, and that's what I got. But so now here I am, 50 some years later, and what I want now is that hollow bunny because it reminds me of being a kid. Not because I think it's better, it's just because now, I'm less interested in the chocolate and I'm more interested in the memories, the nostalgia of it. Yeah.
Well, so, for the solid bunnies, they have to be smaller because it's the same amount of chocolate essentially. But with the hollow bunny, well, okay, maybe with Chief money, but not with Pooh Bear money. But to get the size of a hollow bunny, you've got to get hollow bunny. You can't get a solid. I mean, you can, like you just said, but that's a lot of chocolate.
I'm over here killing it.
What do you got, TSG? What's your favorite?
My favorite is the Reese's peanut butter eggs. The Reese's peanut butter eggs, man. Those are my favorite.
Yep.
I do also like those ones that you just mentioned that were they're like the not the Milk Duds, but the other one.
Robin eggs.
Yes, those are fantastic.
They're like malted milk. They're made by Whoppers, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, they taste like Whoppers, but a little different there with the candy hard shell, so they're good.
But I just like the candy that you can only get at this time, or at Easter, or at Halloween, or at Valentine's Day.
Right.
The stuff you can get any day of the year, it's not that special.
Hey, tell our listeners. Hey, listen, if you guys are listening, today's Saturday, but tomorrow on a Sunday,
put in the comments why Chief's wrong.
Yeah, put in the comments your opinion, your favorite candy, your worst candy, favorite candy, worst candy. Let us know. We want to hear from you.
B-Love, what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
I was saying that I just broke 2 weeks of keto, maybe 3 weeks. Well, it doesn't matter. So if I go into if I start sweating and go into a coma, you guys know why. But things happen. So anyway, that was delicious.
I'm not done. Very delicious.
Listen, next year, when we're talking about what our favorite episodes are, I'm going to remember the one where we eat candy.
Eating candy?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the same as the Halloween episode when we sat around trying all the candy at your place.
Yes.
Honey, I need candy, please.
Then I was in your closet. I was in his pantry looking for he had mentioned he had something in the pantry. I was like, "Why? Let's get that out too, man."
Yeah. All right. So hey guys, a lot of NFL news this week. If we want to chat about that a little bit, so let's just start with so the Buccaneers come out and announce that Monty Kiffin is going to be the next inductee into the Ring of Honor. Monty served as a longtime defensive coordinator here. Had he already moved on when they won the Super Bowl, or was he still here?
No, he was here.
He was here.
He was here for the Super Bowl win, right? So he had been
here till 2000.
DC for Tony Dungy and John Gruden then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this dude, he created the Tampa 2, correct?
He did, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Ben
he revolutionized defensive football.
Yes, he did.
Which also had to, because of that, the offenses had to react to it. So, I mean, across the entire NFL, this one guy had a huge impact. He definitely deserves to be in the Ring of Honor.
Agreed. His coaching tree is a little odd, though, with his son and some other issues. But Rod Marinelli was a good one from his coaching tree. But
Mike Tomlin worked under him, and so did Lovie Smith.
He did.
Both those guys, successful head coaches out there. Levy wound up, and not the greatest, but not the greatest organization to work for. But Mike Tomlin sure fell into it. So
yeah, I think they both worked for the Niners at one point. Anyway, none if it was the same time or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think he's very deserving. I don't know where do they go now? Who's next?
Well, so let me list off for you real quick who's currently in the Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Leroy Selman,
Mm-hmm.
John McKay, Jimmy Giles, Paul Gruber, Warren Sapp. Who's your favorite player?
Mr. Derek Brooks.
Mike Allstott, Doug Williams, John Lynch, Malcolm Glazer, John Gruden, Tony Dungy, and Rondé Barber.
Man, that's a lot of more names than I thought there were.
Yeah, there's a pretty good amount of names on there. Hey, and just to give him, Kiffin credit as we talk about who we think should be added next. He had 99 wins with the Bucks. His defense ranked 10 in yards in the league. Top 10 in yards 11 times in the league. And then he had eight top 5 finishes and 2 number 1 finishes in 2002 and 2005. And their unit set Super Bowl records with 5 interceptions, and 3 of those were pick sixes. His teams went to the playoffs 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2005, and 2007. For the Bucks, for the history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, he was a big part of doing some great things. But I just wanted to give a mention to that for the guy. He deserved it.
Agreed. No, that's good.
Yeah. Where do you guys think, talking about who do we think should be next in the Ring of Honor? Where do you guys think Warrick Dunn comes down?
Warrick Dunn was a nice player. I mean, that's hard to say. His on-field accomplishments really don't warrant Ring of Honor status, I don't think.
His off-field stuff is, I think, what keeps him, pertinent in Tampa with his homes for heroes or something like that. Yeah,
I think that's where I was going to go next. Yeah. I think his off-the-field stuff is more worthy of honor.
Amazing.
Yeah, right. So I don't know. That's a tough one. That's tough.
Here's the thing: when you look at it, let's go back to that Super Bowl team. From that Super Bowl team, currently in the Ring of Honor is Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Mike Allstott, John Lynch, John Gruden, and Rondé Barber. Just from that Super Bowl era, who's missing?
There weren't a lot of consistencies then. Allstott was in there as well. Did you mention Allstott?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the quarterback at the time was Brad Johnson. He was only here for a few years. You had Simeon Rice on the defensive line. He really wasn't here for all that long. Michael Pittman was a running back that was not here.
Only like 2 seasons here, yeah.
Right. So Keyshawn was here. Yeah, we're definitely not going to honor him.
We had a couple of really good DBs at that time. Brian Kelly.
You're thinking Brian Kelly, and I think he may have been on the Super Bowl team. I think he may have left just before.
But what about Hardy Nickerson?
See, now to me, Hardy Nickerson came over at a time when the Bucks weren't the Bucks yet, right? They had just changed uniforms. I think maybe the '97 Dungy had just gotten here out of the Sam Weiss era. He comes over from, I think it was Jacksonville.
He was a beast,
and just kind of reset the tone for what a defensive-minded player should be and how it should look, and the tenacity he had. That was Hardy Nickerson. Definitely could be. I just thought of a big one that may go in. It's more of a sentimental thing, but maybe Vincent Jackson, another free agent that came in. Again, it's sentimental based on his recent passing. Maybe he gets in. Again, same thing with Warrick Dunn. He did a lot of stuff off the field, especially for McDill and the active military. That might be something that gets him in.
What about Trent Dilfer?
I don't know. He was here a long time, but
Chief, wake up!
Look, I'm thinking about this is the Ring of Honor, not the Ring of who's next. Just because your name isn't on, just because you played for the team, doesn't mean they get your name in the stadium.
Well, I think as the 4 of us are sitting here, because we didn't talk about this prior to just now. As the 4 of us are sitting around here if we're struggling, to your point, if we're struggling to come up with a name, I can't think of anybody who stands out like that.
I'd rather skip a year than to
Brad Culpepper.
Well, and I think that's their thing. They want to maintain the annual celebration
the guy
of
from Survivor or the guy from the TV commercials. Which Brad Culpepper are we talking about? The Tony on TV?
Yeah, I'd rather go without it because it makes it more prestigious.
Yes,
I can agree with that, but I think the organization wants to continue the annual celebration of having someone inducted. No. And based on the name, Ring of Honor, not necessarily the Ring of Fame, it is an honor to go in, and they're essentially honoring the player they're putting in there. Maybe they do start looking at some off the field contributions, not just to the Buccaneer organization. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could definitely see them skipping a year or skipping until there's someone worthy of it. But you're going to go along. If at this point you're looking for an active player to ascend to that role, you're going to wait a long time. Because if we're struggling now, you're going to have to wait at least 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I think the creation of the Ring of Honor was long overdue for this franchise.
Yes, agreed.
Go ahead, TSG.
No, this is a question that should be asked. If Tom Brady wins another Super Bowl, that looks so good.
He sent her to the store for that.
I just had an Uber delivery.
If he wins another Super Bowl, that would be 2. Does he get in to the Ring of Honor? Only being here 2 years, but 2 for 2 Super Bowls.
Listen, the way I feel right now, you could put him in now. put him in right next to Sapp or anybody else you want to put up there. Man, he was definitely the difference maker.
Yeah.
But I think some longevity definitely would solidify Tom Brady's belonging in that club.
So, but this candy probably wasn't such a smart idea.
So, all right. So changing the conversation a little bit then. We did schedule this for lunchtime. That wasn't the best idea. Who on the team now, aside from Tom Brady, who we just mentioned, would you consider being eligible for a Ring of Honor that's on the team right now?
Oh, there's a ton of people. I mean, Mike Evans. I would put Tristan Wirfs in, assuming that his
after 1 year.
After 1 year, okay.
I mean,
Donovan Smith had a good year, and except for in the past, he's really good. Left tackle. He was injured, not injury, penalty prone. So, but he has missed very few games because of injury. He's there. He blocks. He does a really good job. So I would go with him. I could go with Jensen. As the center, that guy is fun to watch. And he's the first one into a fight, and probably the first one to get a penalty too. But anyway,
yeah.
And that's just on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, I mean, come on. I mean, we're definitely looking at Vita Vea as a future guy, and then I could see Ndamukong Suh. He's only been here now. This will be his 3rd year, 4th year with us.
Third year.
Yeah. So and White, David.
Devin White for sure. Levante David for sure. Right now, I think would go in. He's been here long enough. He's done enough in the community. He's now won a Super Bowl. I think you could put in Levante David in essentially right now.
Levante and Mike Evans, there would be with the tenure that they have now and their play. Yeah,
I agree with both those.
Oh, and Bray.
I was waiting for Bray. That's your guy.
Brady's great.
That's your guy. Brady's great.
Dude,
that's interesting.
The merchant, the solid hands merchant.
That guy.
Dude, this guy is a Brait fan through and through. He catches about 15 balls a year, but every single one of them
gets thrown his way. He catches. That guy, he doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the stats. I think he's a small guy, but not the speed. No one. He's all he does is perform. That's it.
He dropped his 1 Super Bowl target, right?
Yeah. Okay. 1. So did Haig. So
yes, he did, and now he's gone. Off the team, buddy.
Hey, he'll get another catch now because 17-game season coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are y'all's thoughts on the 17-game season? By the way, I was fine with the 16. So this is a move by the owners, right, to get
money grab,
make some money, right? And if it hadn't been for COVID, and they probably all lost money in that campaign.
Yep.
they maybe don't push it nearly as much as they did this time around. But
they got rid of the fourth preseason game, which nobody watched anyway. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it, but I'm going to tell you what it's going to become very important is going to be depth. You're going to need the team with the most depth is going to be the one that's going to hang around the longest.
It made me think like the team who ends up with a bye in week 6. Ooh, that's a tough draw.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You want your bye to be around week 10 or 11, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
at this point, I think you're right.
I was talking to you guys earlier about it, and my research, it basically breaks down into 2 things: fairness and influence, and then entertainment value. So under the fairness and influence, you got the scheduling, right? So AFC gets an extra home game this year. All right. Is that fair? And then essentially what they're doing is they're matching up the win-loss records of the teams from 2020 and having those games play out. So if you're a playoff contender, you get an extra game against a team that was good, right? And if you were a crap team and you play a team that was kind of crappy or whatever the matchup is. So I think that that's kind of influencing the season a little bit too much, in my opinion. Now, I want more football. I love the 17-game season. Now, then the other question is entertainment value. Is more better? Is the quality? And, divisional games are going to be de-emphasized because now they're 35% of the play, where before it was 37%. Not a big drop, but it's still a drop. And then we don't know the wear and tear and the effect on the players. And then also at the end of the season, these good teams that are definitely in the playoffs, how many more teams are going to be resting those players? So is your entertainment value, is it going to go down? We also talked about the fact that -1 preseason game, 1 more season game automatically increases value, no doubt, because the preseason games are, they don't provide much value. So that's my take on it.
Well, now you said the AFC gets the home game this year. I'm assuming next year the NFC would get the home game for that 17th game. Correct. So, I guess there's your fairness and balance. It just takes time to do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that nobody's talking about that came out of this owners meeting is that they've changed the international play a little bit. So now all 32 teams will play at least 1 international game every 8 years.
Yep.
Which essentially means England or Mexico City. That's I don't know where else they're going to play, but that's where they've been going to. Oh wait, they did do something in Japan. They did something.
Japanese.
And I gotta say, I'm opposed to that kind of stuff, man. That's just all, show to me. You're missing out on. If you're a home team, you're missing out on a home game. If you're an away team, you're not even getting. Okay, the fans are there, so you're at Wembley Stadium. It's a sold out event, but they don't really understand American football. You can hear it by the crowd reaction. I think that's why they do that, in order to encourage them to become fans, so that they will understand it. And I think you're probably underestimating a little bit. I'm with you on I think it's silly to go over there. It's a taxing burden on all parties involved. But as a fan here, I do enjoy the fact that they're trying to gain more fans and using this tool to expose them to some live football. We sit here in America and constantly say, except for B-Love, who loves soccer, and say why the American football sport is a better sport than European football, right? But until we start to prove that to them and show it to them in real life, we're not going to convince them of that. So I'm with you on it's a burden on all parties involved, but I do enjoy the fact that they get to see it. I would want that. I would want, an international game to come to my town to be able to watch it. I think that'd be kind of cool. Do you want to get up at 5 a.m. to watch the Bucks?
Yes, because we always have breakfast and it's amazing.
Oh man, some biscuits and gravy.
I do.
I'm hoping that we get one of those games this season,
just so we can do that.
Breakfast for football is like one of my favorite the meals that we do, and yes. Truthfully, even we do it at lunchtime.
Anyway,
more than once during the football season,
Yep.
I love breakfast for lunch or dinner any time of day. Make me some bacon and eggs, some pancakes,
So
sausage,
some French toast,
Hash browns.
cinnamon rolls,
hash browns, biscuits. I mean,
talking dirty to me now.
we don't mess around.
man, I might have to have some biscuits and gravy for breakfast tomorrow. Now, you got me fired up. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You haven't seen the players really come out and speak out against this. I think it affects them the most.
I don't think they can.
Well, didn't they need to get the players union on board to do the 17th game?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think they had to have their vote on that. So, I mean, essentially, most of the players voted for it, or at least the representation did. I don't know how that worked out.
So
but
essentially, if you play 17 games and then if you played in the Super Bowl and you were a wild card team, you played 4 playoff games, you would have 21 games in it. That's a lot of football.
Plus 3 preseasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No one's playing those.
And in a COVID era.
Who's not playing them?
That's a lot of football. That's a lot of football.
But some backups do. Not everybody that plays in a preseason game gets cut. I mean, a lot of those guys play lots of downs, especially depth guys, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. They play quite a bit.
Okay, so they get their playing time then, but then regular season, they're not really
correct. They're resting. Yeah, they're resting behind a starter, and then there's some special team guy. Who knows? It's all over the charts.
Team. They're running the scout. They're playing Monday through Friday.
Right. Either way, it's a long time to be in season. Right. That many weeks, regardless of your role, it's a long time.
So we've been following the Buccaneers free agency moves over the last couple of weeks, and we've talked about, they're bringing the band back together to make a run at Super Bowl #2. The only player that had a significant impact in the Super Bowl that is yet to re-sign is Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. And, a couple of weeks ago, he came out and said, we're going to do whatever we got to do, him and Playoff Lenny, to stay here to run one back. But, we find out this week that there's a number of contract, like they've given him multiple options. You can take this deal, this deal, this deal, this deal. Yeah. And essentially he doesn't like what he's seeing.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Bye.
That is typical Antonio Brown right there. He's never been a team player, and that's why that Bruce Arians didn't want him. And now he's showing himself again. This is Antonio Brown being Antonio Brown.
Yep. Yeah, he has not displayed himself as being a great decision maker throughout his professional life. We know that. So
I mean, here's the thing: the guy comes in halfway through the season. Some of us were for it. Some of us were against it. I actually believe I got on a show and said I was wrong about AB. The guy caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I wonder for him, like, I feel like I know it was only a half a season, but I feel like he did what he had to do to prove to somebody he's not going to get a long-term deal. Meaning he's not getting a 4, 5, 6 year deal. He's going to get a 2, maybe a 3-year deal somewhere. I don't think there's a team in the NFL will sign him to a long-term deal, right? So he's looking at, you got to be willing to sign that 2 or 3 year deal. And but I think from his perspective, he missed out on some of the best earning years of his career because of his head. Mm-hmm. Right? And he can't get out of his head that I did that. That was my fault. I missed that opportunity. If I want to play football, I should just go play football.
So you think he's leveraging his successful season with the Buccaneers into a makeup contract?
I think he's hoping for one, yes. But the reality is no one's going to give him a 5-year deal.
No, he's too old, honestly. The only way he's getting a 5-year deal is if that's the only way the team can fit him on the salary cap in order to offset his salary while they're paying somebody else. Like not that the Buccaneers are going to do it, but kind of like what Tom Brady just did, where he extended his contract in order to make less this year, so they could pay some these other guys.
I'll tell you what, like, listen, I listen. Everybody's got to get paid. I realize that, but I do feel like this guy made some decisions in his personal and professional life that affected his ability to get paid during the top earning years in his career. But the Bucs, including Tom Brady, by the way, did a lot to help this guy out. Didn't he get a huge bonus on game 16 for the number of passes he caught. And it was because at the end of a game, in what was essentially should have been kneel down victory formation, Tom was throwing him dump passes to get him the catches he needed for a bonus.
Look, I don't have any problems with him. If he wants to go out and shop free agency and if he wants to get paid, fine. But don't tell me that, you're interested in coming back when that's not what your main focus is. If his main focus is going out and getting paid, fine. Go get paid. Put your toe in the water, see what you can get. Just don't tell me one thing and then do the other.
Right. And I think teams out there are looking at him and they're looking at the tape. If you look at the tape, he's not the dominant guy that he used to be. And he did do a lot for us. He was effective, but not in the way that he used to be effective. And that was blow by guys like Scotty Miller does and just go right by him and get a long bomb touchdown all the time. That's what he did. He did a lot of that. He was so fast, but he's not that guy anymore.
So real quick, give me a yes or no answer to this, okay? Sign Antonio Brown or save our money for draft day, Pooh Bear?
If it's either or, no sign.
Chief?
No.
TSG?
No.
So essentially, we should let him walk.
Well, I mean, you laid out my opinion in your question. It's I don't mind having the guy around. I think he does provide a value to the team, but I think his salary needs to be in line with his contribution, and his contribution was fairly minimal. I'd rather my team spend that money on some draft picks, or maybe possibly some other free agencies to shore up some depth, because the fact that you have an aging team that's going to need some rest.
So we don't know for sure, but it would appear like he's holding out for, hey, I want to be paid based on what I've done in the past. And we're saying you deserve to be paid based on what you've done recently.
Yes.
Right.
And what role he's going to have, what role we know he's going to have.
Right.
And we have all the power here. We have enough receivers. We have talented receivers.
Correct.
And so he can't say you need me. We don't. So that's all the power. And
you're 3 to 4 on the depth chart and 6 to 7 on the preferred player to catch the ball chart.
And
so
your comment about we need depth. We have older guys. And the 17-game season we just talked about.
There you go.
I mean, we got some older guys. This could affect us more than other teams.
But I think if you go back and look at the show where we talked about, should the Buccaneers use the franchise tag on Chris Godwin, the argument that I was making was the reason not to was there were plenty of wide receivers out there that are free agents,
and there still are.
There's 15 and ABs out there still looking for a deal.
That's tough to say.
Maybe not in name, but definitely in.
There's 8.
Definitely in production from last year, I would say.
Yeah, so, all right. Well, let's you talk about football being a violent sport. It appears that MMA is a little more violent than football.
Oh wow, yeah. The fight that took place in Pennsylvania earlier this week. The guy who he lost his finger. What is his name?
What?
I got it right here. Yeah, so he's I don't know how you say this. By the way, Kitag Cleave. He's fighting in the ring and he loses his ring finger on it, and it winds up getting hooked on the other fighter's glove and rips his finger off. I think it probably what they're describing is probably like a degloving, but what they talk about, listen to this. This is at the end of the second round, and this cat is in the corner. He looks down and sees the bone sticking out of his finger, and what does he say? He says, "I'm going back in. I can beat this guy."
Cut me, Nick.
Yeah, so if the referee sees what's going on, stops the fight. And then they start looking around the ring for the finger.
For his finger.
They can't find it in the ring. So you know what he says? He says, "Hey, everybody, don't move." Like talking to the fans that are right around ringside. He goes, "I need you guys to start looking for this cat's finger."
Oh, dude, you're making my taint hurt real bad.
Dude, this story has a happy ending though. They find his finger. They sew it back on. And apparently it's going to work. And then now he's actually challenging because that's a TKO. He can't continue. They call it a TKO. He says that it was some sort of illegal action that caused his finger to get ripped off, and that it shouldn't have a TKO should not count against him.
Wow.
Was this some sort of backyard wrestling fight, or was this like a sanctioned?
No, this is
an actual MMA event. Yeah.
Wow.
These guys are.
The thing I don't understand about MMA is like, dude, you've got to be pretty hardcore to just be like, hey, let's get in a ring without like boxing gloves, no headgear. It's like essentially anything goes. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to be involved in any sport that requires me getting hit.
This is actually put on by Cage Fury Fighting. And I want to just say they lived up to their name right there.
They lived up to there.
That sounds legit.
Yeah, these two guys are fighting now, and then the dogs fight next. So
they should do a fight over in Rome at the Coliseum. You know?
Wow.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a cool fight. But
a good looking website.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that in this time and day, with the knowledge that we have about CTE and all the medical findings that we've discovered, that this has become so popular. Now, that being said, I enjoy watching it. I love watching MMA. I like watching McGregor fight. He's kind of like the, in far as promotion terms, he was the Ali of MMA and kind of brought MMA into the forefront. You know, the Irish accent, the way he talked. He's the one that said, I didn't come here to participate. I came to take over. That was his comment. He had another one where I can't remember what it was now, but he goes, I would just want to apologize, and he takes a pause, to absolutely no one after he wins the match.
That's pretty good.
I don't know. Personally, me, I can't get into it.
I don't like it either. I've never enjoyed boxing, wrestling, MMA, anything where two guys are.
Do you guys remember the night that we go to the wing house to get some wings, and we couldn't get a table because of all the people there to watch WWE?
We were there to watch a Buccaneers preseason game.
Preseason game, yes.
It was a preseason.
And we couldn't get a table because of. I was like,
yes,
y'all, this is fake.
We almost had a real fight at that point. It was. Hey, there is another
watch
fight
a real football game.
Yeah,
not a choreographed wrestling match.
It was preseason, so technically it wasn't real either.
Hey, let's talk about the other fight that we got going right now, and that is the fight between me and Pooh Bear in the NCAA tournament bracket. I think I am 1 point ahead of Pooh Bear, but I think he's going to get me.
I'm going to take it. I do believe.
Well, I've only got one team left in. I've got Baylor. You have Baylor and Gorgonzola. So,
point is, none of us had UCLA. How about that?
No one had UCLA.
Good gravy.
So, how about that? Was a great game. Michigan almost knocked them off.
Right.
That was a great game. It's funny, Chief. I had I spoke to a mutual friend of ours who's a big Michigan fan. The day after that game, he was licking his wounds.
Oh, I know he was.
Michigan got humbled. That's for sure, man. They were. They thought they had it.
So, Chief, I got to ask a question, or we don't know who's going to win yet. So, Chief and Pooh Bear, the contest was whoever won the main event bracket got a guest spot on the main event show. So, technically, the only people right now in the running are main event staff. So, given the choice of you could just do the whole live show by yourself, or you can bring in a guest, your guest of choice, what are you guys looking at?
Well, I've already reached out to my first choice via email. I've gotten no response back yet, but hopefully Dan Marino will respond soon, and we'll get him on.
I didn't quite go that lofty. I got a friend of mine. He's the stock medic. He is starting his own YouTube channel, and I want to bring him on. He's got some ideas about buying and selling stocks, how to make a fortune, how to lose a fortune. So, my advice is, if you want to have a small fortune in the stock market, you should start with a large fortune. So,
yes,
yeah, but
that's a good idea.
But
that is solid advice,
especially lately.
Yeah, exactly. He seems to be doing really well, and he's got some, some interesting ideas on the research that he does. I was going to bring him in, and so we can all get rich.
Listen, I that's a great idea, right? I'm pulling for the Chief, by the way.
Bingo.
You don't want to talk to Dan Marino.
Well, I think Chief sounds like he can deliver on his special guest.
You underestimate me.
Okay.
I feel like we might get some isotoners if Dan Marino comes on.
Oh, that'd be great. No, I'll have to think about my realistic guest. I halfway thought about offering up someone from that entered the contest. There's a couple people in there that I'd be interested in having on, but we'll see. Actually, one of them is interested in starting a YouTube channel of his or her own. As a matter of fact, last time I talked to this person, that's what was something we talked about. So maybe I'll reach out to them.
Hey, listen, here's my advice for anybody who's wanting to start a YouTube channel. You don't really make a lot of money doing it.
Nope.
When you say a lot of money, do you mean any money?
Because at this point, any money is a lot of money.
I mean, a year later, here we are, and I thought by now this thing would have some traction.
Yeah, well, I think we're missing a few key components as far as putting in some more effort. I think that would do it, but that's all right. It's all for fun. That's what we're doing it for. It's a good time. If we get any money, then it's just a bonus.
All right, well, this was Chief's retirement plan, so I don't know.
No, I may have to go to Plan B now.
You're going to have to go to Plan B, maybe, Chief. All right, gentlemen. Well, I believe that wraps it up for Resurrection Sunday. Pooh Bear, take us home,
That's
man.
it. Let's do it. Let's go home. Everybody have a great week. Definitely take a minute to remember that this day Jesus is the reason for this day. Let's put it out there. You can't have Christmas without Easter, and you can't have Easter without Christmas. Right there. Boom. Hope you all have a great week. We will see you next Sunday live at 7 p.m. We will be back for all of your viewing pleasure. Take care until then. Good night.
Night.